Got a Toyota? Get it serviced at Quality Car Care of Statesville. Looking for a great pre-owned vehicle? Quality Car Care has you covered at 2040 Old Mountain Road. Visit qualitycarcarestatesville.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC. The following program was recorded at an earlier time.
Good Friday morning, everybody out there in the Lake Norman area. We are coming to you, me and I've got Firewire Dan, of course, and Bridgett Nesbit again to talk a little Statesville politics because we had an election.
Yes, we did.
Y'all, it's been a wild week.
Yes,
people are wilding out there.
Ooh, they showed out a little bit, didn't they?
But first of all, question, how's everybody doing with the time change?
A little slow. I'm trying to catch up. How about you?
I love this time of year, but I got to be honest, it getting dark at freaking 5 o'clock is killing me. And it will.
What's kind of nice, though?
What's that?
While I hate this time change myself, is the accidents during daylight savings time in the morning are always higher.
Oh, wow.
I did notice this morning.
Like
I was getting,
every day this week, pretty
Yeah.
much I've slept into like 7 o'clock because it's light out and people aren't crashing as much.
Well,
Now, today's a
Today
Friday.
was different because
Yeah,
I
there-
did notice a bunch of
there
notifications.
were a couple this morning, but maybe that blows my theory out of the water. But today we were up early posting calls. So
Yeah, I think that they were I think I counted 7.
yeah, there was, and then
Maybe
Charlotte 77 was closed all the way down in Charlotte. The line had crossed the road, power line, and so it was closed at the 6 mile marker, north and south. So that's just everybody coming out of South Carolina or going into South Carolina to work. Plus the trucking industry, and what a nightmare.
Yeah, well, in the evenings, I don't know about you guys, but whenever it's starting to get dark at 5, I feel like putting on my pajamas and just
Let's go
coming
to
and
bed.
watching a movie
Yeah,
or
me
something.
too.
I'm quite unproductive.
Netflix moment.
Right? Those extra hours of sunlight kind of
Yep.
make you a little more productive. You get a little more
And
stuff done.
I wish they would just put daylight savings time 12
Just
months
keep
a year,
it the
24 hours a
same.
day.
We don't have any need for it
I
anymore.
would much rather have it light at 8 o'clock than light at 7 a.m. That's just me.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
So let's jump immediately into something that I've found interesting. No, I'm not going to call it interesting. I don't really know what I'm going to call it, but the venom on social media.
You take off my broke glasses. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Bridgett said she sits on. All
I
of
sit on
her
every pair of my
glasses.
glasses, you guys. I have no pair of glasses that is not broke. So.
And of course, this venom is not new. It's been going on for quite some time. We all know. I've made no bones about how I feel about that on the show with social media, but it has its advantages. But especially at an election time,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
you start seeing things get heated up, and people hearing something and running with it as gospel truth when you really you feel convicted, you feel that way.
Yes.
Maybe somebody told you
Yeah.
that, but you don't have the facts to back that up, and they're easily able to be discovered.
That's true.
But somebody who I saw being talked to.
Preacher.
Should I call it talked at?
Yeah, go ahead.
The leading up to the election was Bridgett.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I was telling her I haven't been invested in Statesville politics, even though I'm from there. But on Tuesday night, I was refreshing, waiting on Mooresville to come in. And then I would scoot down and see where Statesville was because Bridgett had me invested. And then I saw where people were not happy with you.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
For some of the stuff that you've brought onto the show. So how did that feel? Did you feel beat up?
Okay, my tea on this. First, before I even give any tea, I want to say that Dan is a rock star. He is definitely a rock star. We discussed, as you guys already know, we're being transparent. I had already gotten this information on Kim. And that was not because I was gunning for Kim. That was because I had got more than one tip on Kim. If I would have got a tip on someone else, I would have pulled that person as well.
For those of you listening, we're talking about the Statesville mayoral race.
The mayoral race. Now, I did pull the numbers, so I wanted to start off, like I said, by thanking Dan. I apologize, you guys. I thought my phone was completely dead, but it is not. So I'm in the process of trying to cut it off as we speak. I would like to thank Dan, and the reason why I want to say that is you backed me up. If there wasn't proof, she would have never been addressed. Mm-hmm. When we had our meeting here, when we had Brian Summers on, right? Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to come back and do as many people as I could get for the election, correct? Mm-hmm. So I'd already spoken with Morgan, very passionate. And like, I'm going to say this again because I have a point that I want to bring up. It's focused on you again. If there's a firefighter or there's a cop and you need some help, I'm about to throw my phone across the room, and you need help, it does not matter to me if you are a Democrat or if you are a Republican.
Correct. There's no place for that.
There you go. So as a journalist, the way we're trained, when there's news, I have to go get that news. I did do Kim a solid in my opinion. At some points, we can have that discussion. It'll probably take up everything, the black and white thing. We are in the South, so that's going to be a hot button issue. But we're a testimony to that right now. We're sitting here. We might have different opinions. We might have different affiliations. We might have a party that we go over. I can't talk, that we go with. But at the end of the day, the core issues are what are most important. So if Kim had an issue with spending, what I initially did when we had the conversation and it was brought up with Brian here is I said I had talked to her and I was going to let her get in front of it, correct? Mm-hmm. I said I've talked to her. I'm going to see what she has to say out of being professional and respectful. I did do that. Instead of responding to me and even getting the information from me to see what I had, as you can see, I put some of it up in screenshots, that she initially said, no, we don't get expense cards, we don't get credit cards, and that's when I said, I have the records from the city. Instead of responding back to me, getting on the phone with me, anybody knows in my reputation in the 30-some years that I've reported, I will let you read your quotes. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but when I first started, that was my biggest problem. They would say, I don't want to talk to you. Y'all always mess up our quotes. So to make sure that I had some kind of credibility with the public, I would say, I might not give you the whole story. You feel me? You can't shape my story. But I will let you see your quotes to make sure that I understood what you were saying. I've done
the same.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep, still where nobody can accuse you of misquoting. Yep.
And with her, I kept the receipts for that. So instead, I'm having a menopausal moment, and I get a ding on my phone, like you just heard, and it's Bridgett Nesbit is a liar. Show your receipts. So I may have, per the black community, needed to put bigger gloves on, but they didn't get to see the behind the scenes of it.
You gave her all the opportunity to respond, and she didn't.
There you go. Yeah. That was the point I wanted to make. Yep.
And I got some stuff on her that was provided to me in audio from a Facebook Live she did, and it just sometimes a book writes its own story, and in her case, that's exactly what happened.
There you go. So, there you go. I mean, would she have won it? I'm not trying. I don't think I kneecapped her. I think the fact that she could have gotten in front of it could have fixed.
I think the more important lesson is that, when it comes to these municipal elections, we need a primary because you had 4 or 5 people running for mayor, and it split the vote 5 different ways. Yep. And that's not right. This is WSIC with the Mooresville Scoop with Bridgett Nesbit, myself, Firewire Dan, and Jaime Gatton. We'll be back after these words.
Investigative, uncompromising, unafraid. We'll be right back with The Scoop, hosted by Jaime Gatton, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, a beautiful Friday around the lake, partly cloudy. We're climbing into the low 70s for the afternoon. Then not all that cold overnight. We'll drop into the mid-50s, but a shower possible early Saturday morning, maybe a rumble of thunder. Otherwise, it's dry, mid-70s for the afternoon, mid-70s for Sunday with the chance of a shower, a brief shower at any point, and it gets windy to finish out the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Jack Frost loves catching unprepared homes. A furnace that sputters, a heat pump that strains, it's his playground. Beat him to it with a fall maintenance check from Horn Heating and Air Conditioning. Fall into the season of ah. Visit hornhvac.com, where your comfort is our business.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is ready for you to experience golf, dining, and entertainment. Golf lessons, tea times, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, plus memberships are available at 704-872-9990 or online at the 500 Club. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals Wednesday through Saturday. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series in a title-deciding 4-day showcase. The World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. For tickets, camping information, and schedules, click on charlottemotorspeedway.com. Saturday is Christmas in the Ville at the Statesville Civic Center. Come shop from local businesses, enjoy food and drinks, create your own keepsakes, and the kids can play in the fun zone. Christmas in the Ville begins 10 a.m. Saturday at the Statesville Civic Center. The Fall Frenzy 5K is happening on November 22nd at ESC Park in Troutman. This run and walk benefits the Iredell County Crosby Scholars to support college and career access for Iredell students. Runners, walkers, and well-behaved leashed pets are invited. There will be a DJ, food trucks, face painting, games, post-race snacks, and awards. Visit crosbyscholars.org to register and for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Locally owned, community and faith driven, Varsity Zone HVAC of Mooresville is your hometown team. Licensed experts who live where you live. From comfort to care, we've got you covered around the lake and beyond. Visit varsityzone.com and stay cool, Lake Norman.
Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC, local starts here.
All right, guys, we are back on WSIC's The Scoop. I always tend to come in just a little bit early on that second section. I don't know. I think I have a problem. Now it's starting to be a pattern. Anyway, we spent the last segment chatting just about some social media venom, anger. Some of it very justified, and some of it, I'm not so sure. And some of that was geared towards Bridgett, who's with us in the studio today. And we were talking a little about that. We want to wrap that up and hear a little bit more from her. And then we'll move over to Mooresville.
Gotcha. The main takeaway from me for the election, I did have fun. I didn't expect to be in the melee. I thought I would just get to cover it. The people that I did get to cover, I did enjoy. Because like I had said about the firefighter and the cop, if you close your eyes, you can pretty much look at these people that are running like they're going for a position, not being elected for. So do they fit the position? Can they get the ball and take it running for what the city of Statesville needs? So I did have fun. I felt like they were going to try to take my black card. I did. But as you can see, they can't have it. I'm fully invested. I've made sure.
Every nook and cranny,
Every nook and cranny. I love my people. I love the fact that she was even going for it, and I would have loved for her to get in front of it to see if her numbers would have been up. I definitely don't want to kneecap anyone with a passion to move the city forward. In saying that, I want to say congratulations to Hendricks, because when I did speak to him, he was very passionate. He looked like he could work on both sides, and I could see Morgan probably coming in to assist him on some things since he was pro tem. So not just sitting down. You see what I'm saying? Yep. And maybe even for Kim and the rest of them. Like you said, these cities are growing. They have to address the growth. If you're passionate about making the change, I don't think it has anything to do with the color of your skin.
I don't think it has
I think
any
it's your
place
character.
for that, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But in the comments of some of the stuff that I saw with you, you had reported on some expenses from Kim.
Yes.
And instead of coming out and saying, and listen, I feel your pain on this one because I know, a lot of people, as you've said, was like, it was only what, $75?
14 cents or something like that.
It was only that. But I was telling Bridgett back in 2005, I was covering an engineering firm getting Mooresville's wastewater treatment plant expansion, that contract. And I wrote a story about expenses from this engineering firm. And it went down, and there was chewing gum, there was bottles of water, there were cowboy cookies. And I had somebody that I considered, I wouldn't call friend, but an acquaintance and a developer. And he came up to me at a town board meeting, and he said, take us back up. Take us back up. This is, and I said, you know what, though? If you're willing to spend taxpayer dollars on that, what are you willing to spend on the big stuff? And so, but you were getting chastised in comments now I didn't see that. I know that you said that you got blowback for that, but what I saw was, hey, she's our kind, leave her alone. And so as I'm reading that, I'm like,
I'm her kind too. You feel me? I'm like you. I'm not the one that marked Kim's sister. I'm not the one that took the highlighter and did. I'm not the one that did that. So all I needed her to do was get in front of the issue to the voters. Yes. That way we would have been holding her accountable, so that did not happen. If she did it as a mayor, that's a totally different charge. You see what I'm saying? So even the fact that the city was gracious enough to work with her on any charge. I was asked why I didn't get the other candidates. I did not get the tip on the other candidates. You see what I'm saying?
You weren't digging for anything.
Real talk, I had that for so long. It's just that other things developed. And so I needed to get in front of her because I knew what was coming in behind what I was getting ready to do. So that was, for me, us being Black, I wish we would have been able to pull up, even with us both being women, be able to pull over to the side and address the issue like I asked. And then you might not have agreed with the story, but you would have agreed with your quotes. You could have stood on what you said. That could have been something you used to win the election, opposed to...
Well, I was going to say, too, and Dan and I have had this conversation, but public officials, if you're listening, just because we ask the question, usually we know the answer. Yeah. Okay? There's no... That's how media works. But sometimes I have done this before where I ask a question to actually defend a public official.
Yes.
I want to see records because people are saying this about this person, and I want the records so that I can say, no, that is a possibility. It happens. So just because we ask the question, the response, the immediate response of a public official to you asking a question for expenses it tells you pretty much everything you need to know right out of the gate. Because if everything's everything's going to make you look good, you should be happy that we're asking the question.
Have a good PR team, and anything that comes your way. And when you're setting out to run for something, that's when you have to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. No different than if we're coming for a job interview or something. We have to make sure they might ask me about this. What if I had something I did when I was a juvenile that comes up or something like that? You have to have an answer for it. That's what the debates are for. You never really know what's going to be said in some of these debates. Yep. You have to be ready to be quick on the fly, especially I'm just a little country reporter. If you became the mayor and all of Charlotte and maybe Washington reporters came down for you, how would you handle them? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want to give any more speed to it. I hope she finds a post or a position that she can really do and run hard with it, because I'm going to continue to run hard. If she was the mayor, I would have covered her. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't what they were saying about a Black-on-Black issue, because I've invested this entire time talking about my own people and trying to, when I had to report news, all the bad news, I always would try to feature the good things that were going on. Mm-hmm. So I just asked that they weigh me on that. And understand that when I do a job, if someone calls me and says somebody robbed a bank, I can't say, Dan, were they Black? Yep. Because if they're Black, I don't think I can cover it. You see what I'm saying? Yep. Then I have no job. And it's the same for a police officer, a banker. We understand our color. We have to be in a society where we're all colors. So we have to figure out some norm to work together. And once again, if she would have talked to me over to the side, it could have been a totally different story, right? That's how I feel about that.
I remember there was a robbery in Statesville. It was a bank robbery, and the sheriff and I have spoken about this many times over the past few years. But he and a couple of his people were sitting at a restaurant having lunch while this bank robbery was going on, literally down the road. And I remember I put the call out. You know, we don't do a lot of law enforcement stuff on the Firewire, but you know, something big like that we will. And somebody lambasted me because I said, you know, description of a black male wearing this type of, and somebody said, why did you have to tell everybody who's black?
I get it.
Because it's a descriptor, and if you see somebody matching this description, call 911. You know.
I don't get it. I get it because I'm black. I get it. And like I said, I love my people. But in this room, the color of our skin does not matter. It's our skill set. So that's why I always try to tell people, I think I had certain spots where I was prejudiced. I know if I would see like a white guy with the ziggy, with the long beard, and I would automatically get scared. And then one time I broke down on the road, and it was a whole bunch of motorcycles, and they were the best people ever. And I'm like, oh my God,
you can be
they
surprised.
were killers. You feel what I'm saying? So being a reporter, I learned that. I learned that this is not about a color. And you know this with covering news, you as well. When you close your eyes and you're hearing that story, it really doesn't matter to you whether they're black, white, or red. That is news. That's breaking news. It's a feature story. That's how we classify it. Now, if we can do something to help, we try to help sometimes, right?
You want to move into Mooresville?
Yeah. So we had an election.
Yes.
And Mayor Chris Carney's back in, and Lisa Qualls is out. Gary West's back on. Wait, so the only person that changed, is this right, Dan, was Lisa?
Lisa, yep.
And unfortunately, whenever you look at that on the surface, speaking of race, Tommy DeWeese, yep. So speaking of race, tell me if I'm wrong, because I can't picture this, but we have a board now, again, of all white men.
Okay.
So there's not much diversity on our board, which is unfortunate. Because, you know, people bring a different perspective. And I mean, all of these people will too. Yeah. Frank Owens. What was I thinking? Frank Owens, Tommy DeWeese was he's gone, and Frank Owens is on. And Frank Owens,
Mooresville Police Department officer.
Yeah.
And I think he sat on the board at one
captain,
other time.
and he did. Yeah. He did. And here's the thing: people have been telling me, like, but you and Frank Owens don't see eye to eye. And I'm like, you know what? Again, you report what you report, and that was then. This is now. And I appreciate, gosh, so much that he has done. He volunteers for everything, I swear. And
I've never met Frank, but he seems like a real nice guy. He's very active on social media and stuff like that. So look forward to meeting him someday.
Yeah, he He volunteers with the Mooresville Rescue Squad Foundation, and got in touch with me as the Mooresville Scoop to run whenever they were putting out a call for high school seniors to apply for a scholarship. And he said, it's homeschool, whatever. And he said, you know, you should get your son to apply whenever my son was a senior. And he did. And Frank said, look, I don't know what he's going to be asked. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm just facilitating getting the kids in. And he wanted me to make sure there are no favorites here. He doesn't even know. And Ollie did get the scholarship he needed, which wasn't much, but it was to go to Mitchell. And now, of course, my son is at Appalachian. He did the Mitchell Community College dual enrollment program. We need to talk about that one day. But right now, we're going to take a break, and we will come back.
I already cut you off.
Unafraid. Yep. We'll be right back with The Scoop, hosted by Jaime Gatton, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, a beautiful Friday around the lake, partly cloudy. We're climbing into the low 70s for the afternoon. Then not all that cold overnight. We'll drop into the mid-50s, but a shower possible early Saturday morning, maybe a rumble of thunder. Otherwise, it's dry, mid-70s for the afternoon, mid-70s for Sunday with the chance of a shower, a brief shower at any point, and it gets windy to finish out the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 13th through 23rd at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernchristmasshow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Jay White here from Central Line Realty. We're right in the center of North Carolina, and we put you at the center of everything we do. If you're selling a home, buying a home, or adding doors to your rental portfolio, put the team at Central Line Realty to work for you. Go to CentralLineRealty.com and let's get started.
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion is the king of price when it comes to buying a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle. But how about king of price when it comes to the service department? Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville has you covered on tires, brakes, batteries, wipers, you name it. Any service you need on your vehicle, regardless of the make or model, come see Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville Service Department or Randy Marion Ford Lincoln Service Department today.
Leaves are falling, temps are dropping, which means your HVAC needs some love. Don't wait for the first freeze to find a problem. Horn Heating and Air Conditioning keeps your home running smoothly so you can enjoy life. Fall into the season of Visit hornhvac.com, where your comfort is our business.
We speak fluent Fix-It. House Doctors of Mooresville handles repairs, renovations, property maintenance, and more. Ceiling fans, shelves, full room makeovers. We have the experience, tools, and insured background check team to transform your space. 1-year guarantee ensures it's done right the first time. Visit housedoctors.com/Mooresville.
Discover your next great experience at Kane Center for the Arts, where art and community come alive. From stunning gallery exhibits to captivating live performances, we're here to inspire, connect, and celebrate the arts. Visit kanearts.org.
Hello, everyone. This is Joshua Doby, president of North Main Financial Group. At North Main Financial Group, we move to where you need us: investment management, insurance planning, and estate strategies. No two people are the same, so we customize our planning based upon your needs. Reach out to us at northmainfinancial.com. That's northmainfinancial.com.
Let's talk about tomorrow for a minute. Chances are, someday, you're going to want to retire. And even though you'll stop working, you'll never want to stop achieving. You'll want to explore new ventures when you retire. You'll want to see and experience new things because you'll finally have the time to do it. But to get there, you'll need a financial strategy. Eileen Stoner at Morgan Stanley can help. Eileen is a financial advisor, and she has more than 28 years of experience. Eileen can help you create a strategy based on how you want to live now and once you retire. She'll work with you and your attorney toward your goals like estate planning and leaving a legacy. And the great thing is, she's right here in Lake Norman. To make an appointment with Eileen, call 704-896-9138. That's 704-896-9138. Meet with Eileen today to talk about your future. Because when you stop working, your retirement income is going to have to work for you. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Morgan Stanley. Its affiliates and Morgan Stanley Financial Advisors do not provide tax or legal advice. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Don't miss a thing. Download the WSIC News app today. WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Consumer confidence declining to a more than 3-year low as the government shutdown weighs on the outlook, and high prices sour views about personal finances, according to the University of Michigan. Despite all the consumer caution, though, holiday spending apparently on track to pass $1 trillion this year and set a record. National Retail Federation says consumers plan to spend nearly $900 per person on average. IKEA posting a big drop in profit in its latest financial year. The company says that stemmed from its deliberate strategy to slash prices to protect sales, even amid tariffs and some rising costs it faces. And Target has a new directive for store employees. If a shopper comes within 10 feet of them, they have to smile, make eye contact, and greet or wave. If people come closer within 4 feet, they need to ask whether you need help or how your day is going. It's among the latest effort to make its stores more welcoming ahead of the holiday shopping season. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Don't miss a thing. Download the WSIC News app today. WSIC. Local starts here. Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to WSIC's The Scoop. We had a lively discussion during the last break, y'all. There are some big opinions in here, in this room. But I wanted to finish up, and then Dana's got some important stuff to get to. So there was a lot of, on this social media front, there was a lot of, and this happens a lot. It happens a lot in Mooresville. And then I'm going to turn this over to talk. These two can briefly talk about Statesville, and then Dan is going to have the rest of the show. But anyway, the voters, people are, and I know a lot of county people who show up at the polls in Mooresville, try to vote. They can't. They're turned away. And the county people get upset, and they're like, this town is making decisions that impact us, and we can't vote. I have always said, I agree with them. It sucks for them. At the same time, you know where you live and pick where you live. And so that being said, I just mentioned that in the break, and Bridgett came in and Dan came in on something. And so I'm done. I'm out. And Dan, you take over.
I think, it's called annexation, and it's not right, in my opinion. Let's look at the data center. Data center's going out on Stanley Farm Road. If somebody were to build a house on Stanley Farm Road, they built that house knowing they lived in the county. Mm-hmm. They are going to preserve their way of life out there without big city government and big city problems.
That's the idea.
Well, look at what happened. City came in and said, "Oh, we want that land. We're going to buy it off the Stanley family," or not even buy it, just however they do it. I don't understand how annexation truly works, but if the city wants it, the city gets it. And the county really doesn't have much of a recourse in that. If they want that land, the city wants it, they can take it. And now put out this huge data center, which, listen, I'm for data centers. My whole business is data, so I can't be against it.
I get it.
But, I understand people's concern on how a city can just come in and take land. Anybody that wants to see how that works, look at the Statesville map that the fire department just put out. And look how cookie cut that map is. This area, because it has a tax base, we're going to take this. But the next street over, that has no tax base, we're not going to take it.
Mix match.
I mean, look at Station 3's response area. It's more cookie cutter than it is, all together with the rest of the city. And Station 2's area is like that now. And with the new Station 5 coming out, it'll be like that as well. Station 1, obviously. Station 4, they have some cookie cut areas too, but nowhere big as 2 and 3. But it's just, I don't know. I just find it difficult for people.
So you just said something. From my understanding, the family decided to sell.
Yeah.
Be the cattle, be the land. And I thought that meant that the data center just took control. You see what I'm saying? I thought it was being annexed the way that it was just because it needed to be more industrial. You see what I'm saying? Not that they were taking anything from the county. I haven't been really looking into it other than the melee.
Once that's completed, that will be city property. That is that will no longer be county property.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And there's implications that come with that too. Schools, water, a whole bunch of stuff, so it's not just as easy as taking land and saying it's all over with.
Well, the good thing I didn't get to mention is that Doris Allison won her seat for the third time.
Yep,
so she'll be of Award 3. She's it's been a lot of changes up under her, so I'm excited about her. Main reason, and I said it in the beginning, was that I was like 19 or 20 when she first came in the news office fighting for her brother. So I know she has a passion to fight for the city. She brought up an idea. That's the only reason why I'm bringing this up, about trying to get the community more involved, trying to teach them the process to come in, whether they come in as a group to present ideas or proposals to the city. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that would be important because one thing we did touch but didn't go on strong is we have a historical low voting turnout.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Terrible.
So they're hoping that they can empower. She's saying they're hoping they can empower not just the young generation to know the process better, but the ones that are grumbling about what they're seeing, be it the data center, and they did have a good turnout for that one, but any issue that they're able to be able to come in and be prepared to address that issue.
All right, let's move into something else here. Last week, the last segment of the show, we talked about some stuff regarding DWIs, traffic citations, stuff of that sort. So there was another show that went on, was it this week? Yeah, it was this week, right? That another show was put on and kind of refuted some of the stuff we had said. And, I'll tell you straight up, the Sheriff Campbell and I just had a nice conversation. It was probably a good 30 minutes long here. A lot of people don't know the sheriff and I regularly talk, usually 2, sometimes 3 times a week about things. And it's no secret that I used to work for the sheriff. I used to be a deputy here in this county. And, so I know a lot of the inner workings of how the sheriff's office works. But there are some things that we should talk about. So one thing I brought up last week was encryption, right? And one of the comments that, one of the concerns the sheriff had this today when I talked to him was I said last week that the new patrol channels, I shouldn't say new, they've always been there. The patrol channels are now encrypted. And that I said that the sheriff wanted those locked down. And he even quoted that to me. Well, there's no denying that. The sheriff makes overall decisions on what channels are encrypted. Did he physically say that he wants his patrol channels locked down? Those words may have not come out of his mouth, but our sources that were in that process, that's what they said that he was insinuating. Is that true? I don't want to speak for the sheriff. The sheriff is a great guy, and he can speak for himself on that. But, there is no denying the fact that his 2 patrol channels, Channel 1 and Channel 2, are now encrypted. And I want to make it perfectly clear. Me, as a person, and my business, we are not against encryption. I think encryption has a really good spot, and it needs to be there. I've openly talked to Darren that his dispatch channels, he will take heat if he encrypts. And he and I've talked about this at length over the past few months, and it is not his position to encrypt his dispatch channels. The issue that I took up with of an incident that happened earlier last week was that not every law enforcement agency has those channels. So if one agency is responding to a call that has the possibility of being bad, and which it sounded like at first, but it turned out it wasn't, there's another law enforcement agency right down the road. They can't hear that if stuff goes bad. Should that call have been encrypted? Absolutely, because it was a high priority call that, how's the wording I want to use on that? A high priority call that had the possibility of going bad based upon what was dispatched, okay? The downfall of that, Mooresville, who would have been their immediate backup, wouldn't have been able to hear that. Until both agencies have each other's channels programmed with the correct encryption for all those channels, it should be left out in the open. Until that date. When that happens, absolutely switch to the encryption. I have no problem with that. Does it hurt my business? Absolutely. But my business doesn't trump officer safety.
Absolutely.
And I completely understand that.
Yep.
So I just want to put that very clear out there. There was also mention of a 2016 case of a missing child that in the very early days of the Firewire, I posted it of a missing child. And unfortunately, the public does what the public does. They showed up in droves to come search for the child. Well, what the public doesn't understand is that seriously hurts law enforcement with dog tracks. And this was before drones and stuff like that. So dogs were used for that. And when you start putting a melee of people, that interrupts the dog tracks. And unfortunately, that child did pass away. It was found at the bottom of a lake. But we have made it a point never to post a child missing again unless it comes from law enforcement. And to this day, we hold by that. We'll be back, WSIC.
Investigative, uncompromising, unafraid. We'll be right back with The Scoop, hosted by Jaime Gatton, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, a beautiful Friday around the lake, partly cloudy. We're climbing into the low 70s for the afternoon. Then not all that cold overnight. We'll drop into the mid-50s, but a shower possible early Saturday morning, maybe a rumble of thunder. Otherwise, it's dry, mid-70s for the afternoon, mid-70s for Sunday with the chance of a shower, a brief shower at any point, and it gets windy to finish out the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is ready for you to experience golf, dining, and entertainment. Golf lessons, tea times, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, plus memberships are available at 704-872-9990 or online at the 500 Club. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals Wednesday through Saturday. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series in a title-deciding 4-day showcase. The World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. For tickets, camping information, and schedules, click on charlottemotorspeedway.com. Saturday is Christmas in the Ville at the Statesville Civic Center. Come shop from local businesses, enjoy food and drinks, create your own keepsakes, and the kids can play in the fun zone. Christmas in the Ville begins 10 a.m. Saturday at the Statesville Civic Center. The Fall Frenzy 5K is happening on November 22nd at ESC Park in Troutman. This run and walk benefits the Iredell County Crosby Scholars to support college and career access for Iredell students. Runners, walkers, and well-behaved leashed pets are invited. There will be a DJ, food trucks, face painting, games, post-race snacks, and awards. Visit crosbyscholars.org to register and for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
Your pet called. They want to move in with us. Come see why at Dry Pond Animal Hospital and Pet Resort, where medical care, spa treatments, and cozy resort stays are all in one tail-wagging spot. Visit drypondanimal.com, where pets come to thrive.
N110, upscale and elegant, but never pretentious. Over 500 whiskeys, 100 wines, craft cocktails, and crave-worthy small bites. Live music plus monthly comedy nights and tastings. Post your next event at N110, located at 19712 1 Norman Boulevard in Cornelius.
Hard questions, real answers. The Scoop continues with Jaime Gatton. WSIC, local starts here.
All right, sounds good. We're back on WSIC. This is Firewire Dan with Jamie and Bridgett from the city of Statesville. We'll be talking about some pretty important stuff today, and we're going to continue going on some of the stuff that we talked on last week. And we left talking about one specific call that happened years ago that I did post, and it was a learning experience because we learned that we can't sometimes put everything out to the public because the public will sometimes think it's best to go help, and in this particular case it was not, we left and I said that I've never put out another missing child again. I want to just elaborate on that just a little bit. Unless it's already widely put out on social media or it comes from law enforcement, our practice is not to post missing kids. A matter of fact, and the sheriff will tell you this himself, I'm sure, in the past couple of weeks, there have been a tremendous amount of missing people. And I knew about these hours before it actually ends up on social media or pushed out through the sheriff's app. And we didn't post it because it's our process not to post it because we don't want to hinder any sort of scene like we once did. And again, part of growing is realizing when you make a mistake.
That's right.
In 2015, 16, whatever that was, it was a mistake to post that call. Yeah. That's that. We already talked about encryption. There is more encryption coming. Fire department has new encrypted channels. EMS has encrypted channels. Fire marshal's going fully encrypted. Sheriff's office has more encrypted channels now. The sheriff has always had encrypted channels. I want to make that perfectly clear. His ACE channel, his ICE channel, his admin channel, his civil channel has always been encrypted. And the patrol channel, if they want to encrypt that, which they did, that's fine. I just think it's best to make sure all law enforcement agencies have access to that. The comment was made, we could just patch, or we could just send a DCI message. which is the legal way of doing it. You have to send a computer message, say the sheriff's office wants help from Mooresville. That's called a mutual aid request. And that has to go through a DCI message from the ECOM dispatcher to the Mooresville dispatcher. And that takes, as was said on this other show, 5 to 10 seconds.
Gotcha.
Absolutely correct. But what happens when that DCI message is not seen? Happens often. I can't get into specifics how I know this without calling certain people out. But sometimes DCI messages go unanswered for a couple minutes. I can speak for one particular fire department. Rowan County will often request the city of state, or I'm sorry, South Iredell Fire Department or Shepherd's or even Mooresville. They'll send a DCI message, and sometimes 3-4 minutes go by before that's seen. And I've also been told ECOM will not act off a DCI message. They have to act off a phone call. I can't confirm that. That's what people have told me. I'm not going to call out names, but there are departments that have told me that. And until that phone call happens, they won't dispatch it. That's something that maybe the new director can talk to us about at some point. I've yet to meet him. But, you know, radio is always the best way to say, hey, we need this. We need this right now. Let's talk about what happens, though. During the Balloon Fest this year, the command at the Balloon Fest radioed into ECOM at 3:45 p.m. saying, hey, we need an ambulance here for a chest pains call. Okay? At 15:49, 3:49, ECOM dispatched that. 4 minutes after the request. Okay? So that was a call that came directly from a first responder, and I could call that person out by name because I know who called it in, and 4 minutes later it was dispatched. Friday, October 17th, Shepherd's Fire Chief 3 called in a grass fire over the radio. Requested a tanker from South Iredell and Mooresville ladder 6 of the scene. That was at 3:03 p.m. At 3:05, ECOM dispatched that 2 minutes later. Okay? That's nearly double the national standard of 90 seconds. So we're just going to keep going back. People want to talk about DCI messages and calls over the radio. That's fine. We can do that. We'll do it all day long. Sorry, I'm just going back between a few messages between me and a few people. And I'm going to let you hear a few things as well. This particular call. What happens when ECOM doesn't answer the radio? Let's listen.
ECOM Castle, place ma'am. ECOM Castle, place ma'am. Battalion 1, Engine 2, you copy on tag 2. ECOM Castle, place command on tag 2. Mooresville Battalion 1 from Engine 2 on tag 2. Engine 2 then. So you probably get an ECOM answer me. That's success. This ain't a fire alarm, it's a alarm Spearville pump station. 10-4, I'm playing 10-4. 10-4, just make sure my radio's working.
That was over 3 or 4 minutes. That's, I condensed it. Okay? There's another one. Happened up in Ebenezer. And that one is actually kind of funny to hear. It's short, so I'll play it real fast. Here it is.
ECOM Squad 1. ECOM Squad 1. ECOM Ebenezer Squad 1.
He's blowing into the
ECOM
microphone.
Ebenezer Squad 1. Fourth try.
Fourth try.
Squad 1, you're good now. 10-4, Chief, thank you. ECOM, you monitoring TAC 2.
Hitting his microphone. Hey, somebody there?
Hey, go ahead.
9 minutes. 9 minutes. From the time Squad 1 at Ebenezer called ECOM, 9 minutes. This happens. So what I'm saying is, I want to put this to rest that everybody needs to have the channels to hear. There's a case in point why.
Gotcha.
Okay? Sometimes, now, I've put these out to commissioners. Commissioners have responded very nicely. Sometimes there's been an excuse. And as one commissioner said, we don't have an excuse this time, Dan. It was, they're taking ownership of it, you know? And I found out what those excuses are, and while it might be a very good excuse, somebody has to take over the radio. Yeah. Okay. So and lastly, we're going to go into DWIs. I want to make a point very clear. We talked big numbers last week about DWI. And we kind of I don't want to say made fun of the sheriff's office, but people question why were their numbers so low? Well, their numbers aren't really low. The numbers are low for what they arrest for. But when a deputy suspects somebody of DWI, they call Highway Patrol. Highway Patrol is the one that will take that DWI and then arrest that person. Gotcha. They do all the paperwork. They do the intoxilizer at the jail. This is a big process. It's a couple-hour process. And as Darren said today when we talked on the phone, Dan, I have 1 deputy per 1,000. Mooresville has 2.7 deputies per 1,000. Troutman has 5-something officers per 1,000. They have a lot more officers. So, yeah, the numbers are low for the sheriff's office, but they still arrest for the DWI through Highway Patrol. In my take, why doesn't the sheriff's office just do it? You know, but that's just the way it's done.
What if Highway Patrol's not around?
I can tell you what Darren said today.
Okay.
Darren said then the sheriff's office will do it.
Okay.
I had a different experience when I was there, but I haven't been there in 3 years.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm not going to get into that. If Darren wants to talk about that, that's up to him. He's actually invited me on his show today, and maybe we will talk about that. You know, Darren and I, we talk a lot. You know, there's a kind of a little tit for tat right now between him and I.
It happens.
But you know what Darren said to me today? He goes, Dan, I'm not a fair weather friend, but you know, you said something about us, so I had to respond to it. You know, we talked today, so I responded to it. We talk a lot. You know, people don't realize that. But you know, Darren's a good guy. He runs a great sheriff's office. He has great deputies, and they do a hell of a job. And I'll never say they don't. You know, there's certain things I don't agree with, but you know what? Those are Dan's opinions.
That's life.
That's the way. We don't always have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But as long as we're respectful in doing that, that's fine. You know, I think he listens to me, and I always listen to him. He is the sheriff. I respect him. I respect not only him as a person, but as the sheriff himself. And he's always got my vote. All right, Jamie, we're done with this. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more with the sheriff on his show if I actually go in. Good. But go ahead with what you wanted to finish with.
I wanted to let everybody know, and this is on the Facebook page, Mooresville Arts and Events. If you guys don't follow them, please do. And this isn't just delivered to Mooresville. Come out Tuesday, November 11th. It's Veterans Day. There's a lot. Mooresville really goes big on celebrating veterans. And so there are several events, Mooresville Arts and Events. Go to that Facebook page and be sure you check out the Building Homes for Heroes. They're going to do a groundbreaking on Veterans Day. Awesome. For this, it's across from the War Memorial. There will be 14 homes built for veterans.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I did read first responders too. Anyway, Lowe's, big shout out to Lowe's for donating $6 million to that cause. Now, I'm going to let Bridgett talk real quick.
Okay.
And we're going to close out.
Okay, I have a Thanksgiving edition with ICTV. It's a publication. It's going to be coming out right before Thanksgiving. We're asking the question, will Black history survive the growth of Ardell County? Please check it out.
And thank you for listening to WSIC with Firewire Dan today. Jaime Gatton and Bridgett from the city of Statesville. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.